What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 106 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Vlad and Isabella Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Engelbert Steinhoff, a random temporary lord, defended against the Van Heimlims, who decided that the Skinwolf spam was the way to go, bringing an army primarily composed of Skinwolves and a few other assorted units, but ultimately failing to take Trophy Ord. They now are running away, and in fact we can't reach them with Engelbert, which is a little bit annoying, but what can you do? If they come back, well, they can't win either way. The only problem, though, is I think we have to chase them down. Otherwise, they're just going to raid our territory, and that will be an issue. So, we're going to go into ambush, we're going to move towards them, and we're going to hope that they come back. I suppose they could go for Serpent Jetty, which would also be an annoyance, but we shall see. Technically, Trophy Ord is stronger, so they very well could. These little armies, man. But once we clear out Avalon, at least we won't have to deal with it or Albion, rather, not Avalon. We won't be able to, or won't have to deal with it anymore. Now, the main thing for this episode, or at least one of the main things, is this. We finally reached the Temple Avenue of Gold with Maldwin. Hopefully, we can grab it, trade it to the Ghosts of Pahwaks, and thereby confederate them, and at the same time confederate Telaqua. We've been waiting to do Telaqua until we do the Ghosts because they're allied with each other, and they would otherwise break their agreements, which we probably don't want as much. Alrighty. Well, we'll do that in a bit. Let's move everybody who we can first, then we'll do a big old fight, shall we? Alright, so, Bathilda, we'll start with you. No, we won't. You're waiting until the Fortress of Dawn gets attacked. Alrighty, Rudy. You're in the Siege of Hag Grief, and that siege will continue for now. What was this again? Let's just double check. Close victory, medium casualties. Honestly, this might not even be worth fighting. A Nagaron may be worth fighting, but this, is it though? These guys could come in and try to siege us in Hag Grief. You know what, I think we can risk it. Even if they try to siege us, I think we can sally out and kill them anyway. We're not super concerned. Well, let's see how much damage we take. Okay, a lot of damage on the Mournguls, but otherwise we're okay. We're gonna occupy the place. I'm almost tempted to loot and occupy just for the extra heals, though... nah, we're gonna give this to our allies anyway, just occupy it. I'd rather it be a relatively good in terms of... Oh, wow, we can unlock Banshees here. And we can actually build the Banshee. You know, I did want a Banshee in this army. It doesn't really offer all that much, but this is probably the only time we'll ever get the opportunity to do so. So you know what? We're gonna do so. Well, let's get the strong Banshee. There we go. Wow, that was lucky. And here you guys thought we'd go the entire campaign without getting a Banshee on the field. I wish that Banshees were as good in vanilla as they are in SFO, because they provide a lot more utility and buffs in SFO than they do here. But oh well. Let's go Elusive, Ghostly Cowl, and increased mobility, which, to be fair, is quite useful for this army. And then next turn, what we'll do is we'll merge these spears, or delete one of the spears, and replace one with said Banshee. And there we go. I do expect that these guys are going to try to siege, but it's not going to help them all that much. And oh, wow. I just realized, Hag Grief, you actually provide a fairly decent amount of income here. I mean, you do have a gallows and a port. There are some nice territories in these territories, but do we really need more admin, is really the question. The answer to that, I think, is not so much. Anyway, we'll deal with it later. Let's continue down the line here. Roddy. March stance, you're going to suffer some attrition for a number of turns as you go through this, but I don't see a choice in the matter. You gotta go help Mazda Mundi. Alright, you got a long ways to go, my friends, so get to it. Next up, we got Renki, who's nearly to the sea lane. He's drawing close to one more round, then he'll spend one turn in there, and then he'll arrive to help Mazda Mundi out and start annoying Rakarth. Alright, so that's Renki and the Assassin. Yos. Yos, you need to move to, or Josh, you need to move here, or we're gonna have you fight Be'lakor. I'm excited about the prospect because, well, we have no melee line. It should be a pretty interesting fight. Just generally speaking, though our Blood Knights are incredibly buffed in this particular army, so should still be reasonably effective. We'll see what Be'lakor does. how he reacts to all this. Would actually be great if he sallied out. It's weird that he hasn't destroyed Eltharion the Grim, who's sort of been sitting here for several turns and just plain refuses to move. And Bellicor refuses to kill him for whatever reason. Anyway, Wallach, you need to keep moving as well. We're going to move you to Bitterstone Mine for the reason that as soon as we declare war on Arcan, we'll have you take that and then move southward toward Galbaraz. Though, we could also do a temporary army to take Bitterstone, but honestly, at this point, the temporary armies cost so much that it might not be a great idea. Anyway, that was who? That was Wallach with his ranged army, who I would like to get into a proper fight, but to be honest, it's been getting a little bit difficult to find one where he is, at least. Otto, you're headed to the Monolith of Flesh and the last territory belonging to Wintertooth, to Throg, and you'll reach there next turn. We can trade the Altar of Spawns now if we want to, but I guess we can also wait a turn. 6 turns for this. We could also repair all this stuff for our allies. Do we really want to waste 10k on it, though? Not so much. Alrighty. Plus, it's extra time that, frankly, we don't need to spend on this admin, especially not in Norska. Dirk Barrickmere, you are actually following Waldekir, who has reached, by the looks of it, the Monolith of Catan. And oh wow, Throg is back. Not for long, though. You're gonna... Close defeat. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. Waldekir, you might actually have to work for this. Alright, well then, we'll leave that there. Looks like Throg won't go gentle into that good night. Let's move Dirk up towards him, since we're going to be swapping units around. Attrition aside. And then Waldekir, by lore, you can move up here as well. All you need to do is transfer these units, and then you will be good. Alright, gotta really merge these armies into proper armies so we can get rid of these temporary lords, because man, are they costing us so much cash right now. Now look at the little look at the little train. It's adorable. Alright. Make a corpse cart train. Corpse cart centipede. Oh man, alright. Ermine, just amusing myself here. Wallach, Otto, Dirk Barrickmere, Maldwin, Waldekir, Rotep, we just moved and you're about to attack. Edmund von Falkenstein, or Stein, you are going to attack Scrap Towers. Should be auto-resolvable. I do wonder if Kugath will react to this in any way. I guess we're about to find out. Auto-resolve. More damage than I would have thought. Way more damage than I would have thought. But we're gonna occupy it, heal up. Hopefully we won't get a plague next turn, because we can heal instantly. And then hopefully we can trade one of these territories. In fact, let's build a gibbet here immediately. Don't bother collecting the income. It's Shattered Bay that we want to complete this province, as it is quite a nice one. I would like to see how much money this province can generate after it's completely maxed out. Anyway, that was who? That was not Maldwin. That was an Edmund, meaning Jacob Bachman is up next. Jacob, you are heading out to Floating Mountain. Let's see if we have to manually fight this or not. And what do we have in terms of defense? Oh, they're looking pretty garbage, which means we can auto-resolve it, yes. No need to fight this, and did you just get the Screaming Banner, or did you always have it? I guess it doesn't really matter. Occupy the place. And then keep going. Faction destroyed. Dolgan, one more faction bites the dust. Let's upgrade you before we trade you away, and then let's pop Repress Mortals, just so that we don't have any rebellions. You, Werner, you're gonna take some time. You're gonna have to move up this way. There's no way to not suffer attrition, so you'll move here, and then you can heal up a dragon's death, I guess. Alright. Who's up next? So that was Jacob. Bruno Morphin. Everybody needs to continue advancing. You are going to Amble Peak, not so much because we care about Amble Peak, but because we're going to occupy it and trade it, hopefully. If we can trade the Vale of Titans away from the western provinces, then trade the Amble Peak and the Vale of Titans to Imric, we can then trade Carrickazorn for Shattered Stone Bay. A little bit convoluted, I know, but it's fine. It'll give them more territories up here, and it'll link up their other territories, which I think works out fairly well. Alright. And everybody's friendly amongst themselves. We'll also probably tell them all to attack Grimtop while we delete you, because we don't need any more armies here. Or anywhere. Well, anywhere in this part of the world, anyway. Alrighty, anyway, that was Jacob Bachman. No, that was Bruno Morphin. Starting to lose track of all the names. The temporary armies are throwing me for a bit of a loop. Let's see. Lutz and Jurgen. Lutz is about to defend Jurgen. Yeah, you have an issue, and your issue is, while you may defend, we may want to get Waller Fofbach up and running. Oh, down to 27k. In order to help you out. Namely, what do we want here? Well, we're gonna get some good stuff. Crypt Horrors and the Mortis Engine. Too bad we can't get a couple black coaches. Are we able to get Necros here? Yes, we are. Necro 1.
Yes, misery.
Yeah, and Necro 2 is a lore keeper, which I don't particularly care about, but meh, it's fine. This is gonna be a full stack. And we're gonna send it out with either Waller or Jurgen commanding out to sea. Jurgen, you have the Unliving Host, so you buff Crypt Ghouls and Graveguard. So we can certainly give you more Graveguard. Let's go 4 and then 2. And there we go. This guy's gonna get absolutely wrecked once this force actually attacks him. And we could probably get a Terrorgeist and stuff like that, but you know what? We can't move this turn, so we'll stay here right now. If this guy attacks, then he'll have to contend with the elites here. If he doesn't, then we'll move and raise next turn at the same time.
My servant fails me.
Alright, what do we have here? Alright, a Tomb Scorpion, a Kemrian War Sphinx, and the Ushabti. Yeah, it's still gonna be quite problematic, but we'll see if we can manage it. Alrighty, and was that the last of the non-fighty armies? Ruprecht Lichmore. Who are you again? Oh, this guy. Yeah, you're just gonna stay out here for a while. Oh, wow, you could actually reach Luther Harkin, but your army is trash, and you can't raise good stuff. If you could raise good stuff, this would have been an amazing opportunity to destroy Luther's force while in full speed stance. But alas. It doesn't look super likely. Alrighty, well then, Jurgen and co, you're all gonna stay where you are, and it's time for the Air Force to attack the Temple Avenue of Gold. Let us apply some points. There ain't much of them, mind you. Storm of the Night, probably not gonna come in too handy in this particular fight. Although, wait, do you guys have aerial units? Actually, they do have a little, but too late now. And then lastly, Necromancer's at level 30, which means we get you Mentor. Oh, lovely. Everybody gets Mentor. Alright, and here we go, a Pyrrhic victory. Let's try out our dragons, our Terrorgeist, all the Air Force in all the land, and see how they do at taking a Tier 5 settlement.
A new order comes.
A new order comes indeed, an Air Force order, an aerial order, and this is going to be the first battle. Here we go. Ah, look at that charge from our Royal Pegasus Knights right into those piles of pink horrors. Now granted, we put the Royal Pegasus Knights here for their anti-large prowess, but they do have Vanguard deployment and are thus going to beat the rest of the army. And oh wow, oh damn, I should have gotten a nice shot with our dragon framed in this little circle here. And that would have been neat, but oh well, not a big deal. I am still very excited about the Air Force. Here come the Bats and the Vargeists and the Dragons and Terrorgeists. Ah, I've been waiting to try this thing out. Especially since I've been building an Air Force in pretty much every single campaign where I can manage it lately. It's taken far too long in this one, which is kind of funny considering the vampires have access to solid air forces. Though, to be fair, we have been using aerial units in plenty of other armies, just not an all-air force army. There we go. The Star Dragons coming down with the help of the Royal Pegasus Knights, the living and the dead. Obviously, the Star Dragons and the Royal Pegasus Knights fighting the Chaos Knights here, and because of the anti-large that the Pegasuses provide, and the fact that the Star Dragons are disgustingly strong. Alrighty, over in the background we have our Terrorgeists trying to fight some Screamers, and obviously our Vargeists together with the Bats are going to go after all the pink Horrors and blue Horrors. The Horrors obviously stand no chance against the much stronger Vargeists, but we don't want the Vargeists fighting Chaos Knights, as said Chaos Knights would destroy them without too much trouble. They're just too fragile. Alrighty, and over here we have Maldwin acting basically by himself. He's trying to fight, let's see, 1 unit of Screamers and 2 units of Pink Horrors, though of course he's summoning zombies on top of them, which means that he's hardly fighting by himself. No vampire is truly ever alone. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Let's see, we got the gatehouse also nearly down at 1000 HP, so we will have our Mortis engines come in to heal at least the dead, and also to damage those enemy Chaos Knights, who are also in fairly bad shape as well. And damn, the Chaos Knights are so much bigger than the Pegasus Knights. They're basically twice their size. Both in height and general size. Actually, in general size, they might be bigger than twice. I guess Grail steroids aren't as good as Chaos steroids. Alrighty, well, it looks like the blue horrors and pink horrors that were in the background are pretty much destroyed. The Chaos Knights are moving in to, I guess, try to counteract the Mortis engines, because it looks like they're all moving towards them, but they're completely surrounded and overwhelmed by air to this point. Very nice. Looks like Maldwin has also finished up fighting those units that he was fighting previously, the pink and blue horrors, and is going to land on the biggest enemy blob that he can find here. Continues summoning, and a Star Dragon Breath coming in. Ooh, very, very nice. How much damage was that? 132 kills and about 9k damage, plus whatever damage the Star Dragon actually dealt in combat, but that looked quite nice. There you go, buddy. Huh. You know, funnily enough, the Star Dragon really matches the the color scheme of the Tzeentch forces. Huh. I guess that's a reason to try to get High Elven allies when you're playing Tzeentch, although that's probably a fairly difficult thing to do, if not outright impossible. Because you'll start with 100 aversion no matter what. Well, either way, our Terrorgeists and our Dragons drop down. I believe this is the last of the holdouts of the enemy army. The weaker forces have been taken care of by our Vargeists and Co. And then, of course, our stronger forces, our single entities, are going to break through the remnants of the enemy resistance. Our bats also serve a purpose, of course, destroying enemy towers as they go and catching any enemy units that try to run away. One of our Royal Pegasus Knights units did get kind of hurt there, so we're using it to help the bats rather than fight in the remains of this melee. And that said, the melee is just about done. I'm gonna chase off the rest of those units. Don't even have our Mortis engines up here yet, but I guess by the looks of it, we're not gonna need them. And oh, huh. You know, I kinda like the Tzeentch color scheme on the rats as well. Not a color scheme I'm used to. Alright, well, regardless, there we go, the debut battle for Maldwin, and he absolutely crushed it. We barely took any damage. Ooh, I love the floating pyramid. We barely took any damage here. I think, well, some of our Pegasus Knights did get hurt. They got HP damage more than any actual damage, so this very high-tier settlement fell with basically no problem, and in a very different manner than our other armies work, wherein we break through the gate in a Death Star, right? And this army does it completely differently, but no less effectively. Alrighty, not too bad at all. This army was originally built to be, at least in part, very good at taking settlements, and by the looks of it, it's quite effective at it. Just go over the walls, ignore everything, and destroy the units hiding behind it. We have the most damage by the looks of it on the Star Dragon, which is hardly surprising considering the expense of the unit, and this one got a breath off and then this one didn't, so the difference in kills, the disparity here is because of the usage of the Dragon's Breath. Otherwise, we got very respectable numbers on Maldwin as well, and on these units of Royal Pegasus Knights, which did go over the walls and were the first into combat. Very nice. Alrighty, and we are going to occupy rather than loot and occupy to keep the place as expensive as possible. Now, it does have a gold mine, which is unfortunate for us because we wanted to get rid of it, but get rid of it we shall as long as we can. This was Tor Serpindar, yes? No, this was the Temple Avenue of Gold. Oh, right, and we can't trade it. Okay, so it looks like they need to get the Caverns of Sotek first. Hopefully they occupy it. Damn. I'm a little bit disappointed about that. But oh well, not much we can do about it. At least not at this time. Let's then give you some money. Damn, I really want to confederate to Laqua. They're getting less and less friendly. Offer payment. Offer payment. Offer payment. Oh, what can you do? And going to plus 14. Still dropping, but not nearly as much. Offer payment again. And, every time we offer them a payment, the likelihood of confederate, or the likelihood of the bonus points for this drops. That's kind of odd. I wonder why that is. I just want to see this again. 30. Oh, no, never mind. I thought it was because this was on the screen. Never mind, ignore me, I'm just an idiot. It's normal. You should be used to it. Alright, one more small gift. There we go. Now we're good for at least one more turn. And how do the Ghost of Pahwaks feel about that? They're not angry about it, are they? No, they're not. Okay. They're still friendly. And these guys are friendly with each other. We just need them to be friendly for one more turn by the looks of it, as we will then try to take the Caverns of Sotek. Actually, ideally, these guys take it themselves, but we shall see. We should also build some cheap buildings here just so that the place is worth a teensy bit more. Is there anything that takes one turn to build? All of these take one turn. Alright, well then let's do you. And let's do you. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one, or maybe you. Who cares? Who cares? They may get deleted anyway. I just want to make sure that the place is as expensive as it can possibly be. We will not collect the income, however. And really, you can't take this. Odd. Because their province is bordering this province. And they just don't have any settlements in it. Also, you guys own Sotek's Trail, but by the looks of it, it's very likely that we'll have to fight Kroq-Gar, because he's not very happy with us for some reason. Alrighty, well, that's that fight, but we have other fights potentially to do, and I guess we won't be spending any more money this turn by virtue of the fact, or by need, because we'll need to pay off our new vessels. Alright, now, ooh, hello. Look at all this. This is heading towards us. Oh, hopefully they don't destroy the Galleon's graveyard. Oh, I will be so upset if that happens. Are they at war? Oh, they're not at war. Oh, thank you. Okay, that's nice. We joined the war against these guys, but we didn't actually get a bunch of our allies to join it, which may be a good thing. Let's allow the elves to continue fighting the Dark Elves. We can deal with Lustria ourselves. At least for now. Alright, now. Where were the other potential sieges? I'm starting to lose track. Alright, we're gonna have to go through this one by one. Vladi, you cannot reach Negrar. Bathilda, you are waiting for the Fortress of Dawn. Rudy, you are potentially waiting to get attacked, but not in a siege. Peter, you've destroyed the disgusting Greybeard's prospectors, and that's fine. Roddy's moving. Aldous, and I know I'm rechecking stuff that I checked before, but I feel like there was at least one more siege, but damn me if I remember where. Alright, Ermine, you just got your Terracotta Sentinels, but you cannot move. Otto. Dirk, oh, I remember where. It's not Dirk, it's the other guy that's up here. Not Maldwin, because he just fought. Waldekir, it's you. You have a fight with Throgg. Alrighty, but let's check everybody else, because at least I remember this one now. What do we need to do here? Oh, we need to give you your points. Maybe we actually save this fight for the next episode. Let me just see about this. Edmund, you're good. Jacob Bachman, you are good as well. Bruno Morfen. Richard Lichmore. Yeah, you're hurt, but not so hurt that we care. All of this is still going to happen, but I guess next turn. Man, I was really excited to try to confederate everybody this time around, but it looks like it's not gonna happen. Alrighty, well then. It looks like we do have the fight. Well, let's fight then. Yes. Alrighty, so Curse of Undeath, and you have Raised Dead. Do you have Necromancers? You do not, which is going to make this a little bit more difficult. Let's give you the Hunger, and we will have to pick between Grave Sentinels and between Heart Piercing. Now you Are you gonna be on your zombie dragon is the real question, and you probably are. And while I'd love to give you heart piercing and the zombie dragon, I think we'll go without. And go for grave sentinels instead. You're not gonna be using any graveguard either, so it's basically strength of steel plus heart piercing versus disciple of Abarash and honor. Or death. The damage resistance is gonna be quite nice on the zombie dragon now. On the other hand, if we don't need grave sentinels, we don't really care. Maybe we go Strength of Steel after all. We already have one of these. Alright, let me just check the other two. The other two Blood Knights, I mean. I forgot what I gave them. One of them I know has the... yeah, you have Honor of Death. Where are the others? And yes, this does matter. And then Yas rather, you have Strength of Steel and Heart Piercing. In fact, let's get you Strength of Steel while we're here. And yeah, you're about to have Heart Piercing. Yeah, your melee defense is quite low on that zombie dragon, though. Oh wait, you're on your Hellsteed. Which is why we went through this. Well, also that and Doom Rider. Extra armor is certainly helpful. I do like Heart Piercing. But nonetheless, you know what? He's gonna have Hellsteed and Heart Piercing. Let's go Zombie Dragon and Heart Piercing, even though it's more beneficial to get this, I think. I just like Heart Piercing for the damage. On the other hand, if that's going to be the main tank of this particular army, maybe we should be careful with Waldic here. Alright, screw it. Let's leave him nice and tanky then. And then let us get, I think, Wind of Death for this. Like so. We'll obviously put a bunch of points into all this other stuff, but not right now. It's not important. What is important is pulling this one off. A close defeat? Let's see if Throgg can pull that off himself. Alrighty, here we go. THROGG'S last stand. Let's see how we can, or how long he can stand under the onslaught of the dead who have taken over all of Norska. And we are going to separate our army in two this time around, mostly because we can. Granted, we only have one Mortis engine in this force, so it would have actually been proper to go for one balled up or one Death Star, especially because there's no casters on the enemy side, and thus we wouldn't be concerned with it. But on the other hand, we also don't really care about any casualties in this army, because it's being retooled in the next few turns. This is obviously, or as I've mentioned before, going to be our all-vampire army. So that means it'll have our Depth Guard, our Blood Knights, then Vargeists and Vargulfs. And that should be pretty much the army. But it's really the Depth Guard that I want to use, but yeah. And to some degree the Vargulfs. We don't have a lot of those in another army either, so that'll make it fairly different. Throgg's gonna puke on those Crypt Horrors, but I don't think they care all that much. Alrighty, and then over on this side where our Lord is not, well actually he is right now to summon some zombies, but he's mostly going to be attacking where Throgg is. Now just flying overhead to drop some zombies on the enemy and block them here for the purpose of distracting them long enough for us to cast the Wind of Death. Just to help out this particular area a little bit, there's the Wind of Death moving through the enemy lines, of course ripping our own summoned zombies apart as well, but, you know, and that's partly what they're there for. Not a lot of the enemy berserkers are exploding. They have lost about half their HP to the passage of the Wind of Death, but I would have thought that more would have exploded. And not a big deal though, they still have a Mortis engine and Crypt Horrors to contend with. I'm sure they can explode them just fine as they move deeper into the enemy formation, and they are gonna get a little bit of help from the Necro or that's a Corpse Guard rather, and the Blood Knights here as well. Alrighty, so blob on blob action here and blob on blob action here as well. We're going to try to get to Throgg, but we're kind of surrounded, or at the very least we're in the press here. And while we can continue to summon zombies in the middle of this blob, it's going to be difficult to get to THROGG'S himself. And damn, THROGG'S a big boy. Crypt Horrors are pretty huge. They tower over many, many units, and THROGG makes them look tiny by comparison. That's a big old troll. And you gotta love THROGG. It's been quite a while since I played him, but, well, not as long as certain other factions. But I remember THROGG'S campaign very, very fondly. Especially because I built some silly, fun armies in it, like an all-chariot and horseman army, which started off not being super effective, but turned out to be surprisingly effective. I'm gonna have to repeat that someday in the future, just to continue testing it out in Total Warhammer 3, as opposed to 2. Anyway, looks like we're very, very close to try to attack THROGG, just out of reach of these units blocking him. Our Vargulf, I believe, is also trying to get to THROGG as well. And finally, something that's on par in terms of size, though I'm willing to bet THROGG is actually much stronger than a Vargulf is. Or at the very least, well, THROGG is. A regular Ice Troll probably would not be. And wow, THROGG got knocked down for ages by the looks of it, huh? Is the getting up animation... I wonder if the getting up animation is actually stopped by the press of units. Anyway, very, very nice Wind of Death. Wow, that was fantastic. So it bounced between these locations. It actually didn't do as much damage as I thought it would. Honestly, I thought all these Marauders would be destroyed. But Waldekir has 35k damage from those two spells. It's not like he got a lot of damage from killing things right now, because he's been too blocked to do that. We've been getting a lot of that lately in the last few battles, where units are just in each other's way. Our Crypt Horrors and our Mortis Engine over on this side are still trying to get through, though as we can see, our Crypt Horrors are being peppered with axes and with javelins from the enemy Marauder Hunters, which with their anti-large buffs is actually fairly dangerous. Dangerous enough to badly hurt our Crypt Horrors and our Blood Knights, both of which are at half HP, and in fact the Blood Knights have also reached their healing cap. We'll have to be careful. You don't want to underestimate Marauder Hunters. They can certainly do decent amounts of damage, and Javelin units in general. I remember a few episodes ago in my Kroggar campaign currently ongoing, the Tic-Tac-Toe gets a lot of buffs for regular javelin-wielding skink cohorts, and they killed a unit with their, I think, first and half a second volley for the Crypt Horrors of just javelins. The Crypt Horrors run up, the javelins go fly, and the Crypt Horrors go down. Which is why I wouldn't want to underestimate the javelin units. Anyway, looks like we're going to back off a little bit with our Crypt Horrors here. At least one of them, anyway. And just so that they don't die, and the Blood Knights are behind the second wave. And also, the Mortis Engine has reached his healing cap and is about at half HP. Good job to THROGG. He's certainly trying to hold on, and I guess he has to, because this is the last fight we'll ever get against this faction. And he's whacking away at that Vargulf now, although we got some Crypt Horrors moving in as well. And we're fighting on top of a... what is... oh, it actually didn't get built. It says 0. Oh, well, that's unfortunate for the enemy.
This was not meant to be.
I think that whether... I don't know whether this was supposed to be a buff or a debuff, but I think I can't click it. Unless... wait. Is there a way to find out what that is? No, I don't know what it is. Unless there's another one somewhere. But I don't see one. Nah, oh well, not a big deal. It's not like it's doing anything right now anyway. THROGG'S actually moving forward into... oh wow, nice kick at those zombies. Granted, we don't care about that. But surprisingly, THROGG is moving deeper into our formation rather than away. Granted, we did finally get around to moving like this, so it's 2 units of our Crypt Horrors backed out of this place, moved around, and hit the rest of the enemy Marauders in the back. This should quicken or speed up the ability to destroy this portion of the army, and soon THROGG will be here alone. Oh, I didn't realize he had some armored skinwolves in here with him as well. Nice. And I didn't realize it because it was hard to tell with all these units fighting each other. Well, with that, the balance of power certainly shifts in our favor. Looks like most of the units around Throgg are breaking, though Throgg himself continues to fight. We are almost through on this side as well. Mortis Engine's up to 456 kills and nearly 50k damage. Very, very nice. You gotta love these things. This is exactly what I was talking about a few episodes ago. I want to say a few episodes ago. It might have been a while, with Ermine's battle when she tried to take the Chaos Fortress without the Mortis Engine. This is what the Mortis Engine could have done, and this is nowhere near the number of units that that particular battle had. Alrighty, nearly through. The balance of power definitely very much in our favor now. Enemies are nearly collapsing, and we're even going to use one of our Crypt Cores units to hit these guys in the back and provide further morale shocks. Throgg is starting to actually get hurt now, surrounded by the Vargulf and a single unit of Crypt Cores as he is. And our Lord is trying to get through the press of our own units towards him now, though it looks like all of Throgg's retinue have abandoned him. He stands pretty much alone. Are these guys routing as well? Yeah, they're routing as well. It's all Throgg, though somehow I doubt he's going to manage. There we go, our Lord is finally... wait, I don't see him swinging away. Oh, please tell me you can actually get a few hits in there. Come on. Oh, too many units blocking each other. Throgg kicks. Alright, it looks like it's difficult to get a hit in. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter as the rest of the enemy army will rout. Man, it would have really taken a while to bring Throgg down. Unfortunately for him, he is not unbreakable. I think there should be a thing where, well, I guess this isn't technically the last settlement, right? This is the... there is one settlement remaining after this. It's just the last fight for Throgg, but still, the idea stands. I was about to say that I feel like for when a faction has one settlement remaining, all the units in that settlement should be given unbreakable. Because either they stand or they die, right? They have nowhere to run. And of course, that would make it a lot more difficult for AIs to finally destroy factions, though I have a feeling that the AIs are programmed to avoid destroying factions in some situations anyway. I've certainly seen weird situations where the AI seem to just refuse to kill an enemy faction for good. Anyway, the last of the Marauder Berserkers are done, and with that, the battle will end. A close victory for us, and it certainly took some effort. We saw the defense here, where the Javelineers and the Axe Throwers did great work damaging our Blood Knights and our Crypt Cores and our Mortis Engine, though all of these together finally managed to break through. And then, of course, Throggy wading into the fight and just continuing to hold ground against the onslaught. Oh, nice shot of the Crypt Core. A little bit late for fancy attacks like this, but yeah. It almost looks like a, I don't know, like a cover art of something with this guy jumping up about to hit. It's like an, you know, dynamic like action shot sort of thing. I wish this thing was hideable. I would have taken a screenshot here. Why must you not be hideable? Yeah, oh well. Regardless, close victory, nice little fight. Let's see what we have left. Not that it matters, because we're ready to start retooling this army and changing it to all vamps. Alrighty, there we go. Throggy actually gave us something of a fight. That was pretty fun and lasted much longer than I was expecting. Slaneshi giggle. 54k damage on the Mortis Engine, which obviously did by far the most damage, though 36k damage, no slouch Waldekir with his Wind of Death. Well done to you, buddy. 16k on one of the Blood Knights. Yeah, very nice. And 22k on Throgg, but I'm really glad that he gave us a final fight. Alrighty. Let us occupy the place, and hey, we actually never defeated Throgg on Waldekir either. Well, that's lovely to get the defeat trade on him before the end here of this faction. Now, we'll probably have to figure out what to do with this particular territory, but we can probably do that later as well. We are going to... Oh, wow, okay, now we're out of time, and I'm going to call it. Next time, Dirk and Waldekir will join together, and hopefully the other Waldekir will also ferry these troops over to these guys, because we've been waiting for these troops for quite a while now. And on top of that, before I forget, Waldekir, you... can start doing this.
What do you want?
1, 2, 3. We're gonna be one short, but we'll get the fourth one when it comes available. We'll just use a placeholder. But there we go. Start getting those depth guard on the field. I guess you're gonna have to sit here for quite a while recruiting them, but we don't have much of a choice, and I do want them in this army. I can't believe we've gone this entire campaign without making use of depth guard. It's been very difficult getting allegiance with the Vampire Coast. But anyway, and with that, as I said, calling it next time, destroying Kugath and whatever other battles we can find, but most importantly, we are going to end the turn and hopefully take Caverns of Sotek, and then finally vassalize both the Ghosts of Fahwaks and Tilakwa if they don't declare war on us before then, or something. We shall see, so stay tuned to find out. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.